Here's a pretty good one. The 20 and 200 moving average on the weekly scale. And Bitcoin has just formed a golden cross. Something that has never, ever, ever in history has ever done before. That's very bullish. This is something that Bitcoin has never, ever done before. Formed this golden cross between the moving average of 20 and 200 on the weekly scale. That's pretty bullish. Recently, Standard Chartered has become very, very pro Bitcoin. This is coming like out of their CEO's mouth. This is not just some analyst that's saying this. Standard Chartered's CEO is very bullish on Bitcoin, and more so now because of all the excitement over Bitcoin spot ETFs. So previously, Standard Chartered came out with a prediction that by the end of 2024, Bitcoin would be at $100,000. But now they have upped it from 100 to 120,000 by the end of 2024, another 20%, and predicted that Bitcoin will be at 50,000 by the end of this year. I mean, these are really solid predictions. To go up about, 50% from here on to the end of the year? That's believable. And then to double from about 50 to 100, 120 by 2024, certainly believable. Before we get a spot Bitcoin ETF, what exists? MicroStrategy. A firm with having 152,333 Bitcoin on its books. It is by far the most of any company out there, with the asterisks, because we don't know if someone BlackRock holds more. They could. They very well could hold more. We just don't know. They didn't report it. Rich Dad Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki just gave a new prediction. So according to him, BRICS nations announced gold-backed crypto. US dollar will die. Trillions of US dollar will be rushing home. Inflation will be through the roof. Buy gold, silver, Bitcoin to 120,000 by next year. That's actually the same point of what the same dollar amount that Standard Chartered declared a few days ago. $120,000 by the end of 2024. Now you got 3 reports basically at the same number. Bitcoin has formed a foundation under 30,000 according to Glassnode. Why? Well, there's many reasons, and there's so many on-chain metrics that show why Bitcoin is so strong at 30,000 and why it's probably not going to break below ever again. Well, here's one reason. The shrimps, people that hold less than 1 Bitcoin, continue to stack sats at a rate of 34,000 Bitcoin per month. Okay? Think about it. 34,000 being bought just from the shrimps. It's not counting the sharks or the whales or anything bigger than a shrimp. This is just the shrimps buying 34,000 per month. Yet there's 27,000 being released per month. So you do the math. There's more buying than being issued, right? There's more demand than supply. And this is just talking about shrimp demand. Shrimp demand, not everything else. So it's just a matter of time. Plan B says, congrats, you survived the worst Bitcoin bear market ever. Well, that is true because the 200 weekly moving average, Bitcoin hardly spent any time below it, going all the way back to even the early days, right? During our bear markets, Bitcoin briefly broke below the 200 weekly moving average. This time around, we broke through and stood below for a very long time, mostly because of collapse. We had so many black swans happen in 2022, right? With FTX, with Luna, with Celsius. That's the reason why. Otherwise, we may not have gone down so much. But nevertheless, we did, and we're back above. So you should pat yourself on the back if you're still here because you pretty much did survive the worst Bitcoin bear market. And the longest extending bear market too, the longest drawdown as well. Just not percentage-wise, but the time-wise, yes. So if you survive 2022, anything going forward, you'll be able to survive, really. Tim Draper still believes that Bitcoin will hit 250,000 by the end of 2025. Now, he previously declared that it was going to happen in 2023, but he said he misjudged because of all the FUD between the SEC and everyone else, right? He misjudged that, but he still believes that Bitcoin will reach $250,000 by the end of 2025, which makes a lot of sense because a lot of people know that is the end of this current cycle, this bull cycle. Okay, and that's when things get really, really bullish. And if you think about everything else that's happening, right, in addition to everything I just mentioned, but you think about everything else that's happening with even the macro environment, which I know a lot of you guys don't pay attention. I do cover macro stuff a lot. But if you think about this, also correlates with the macro conditions improving. You know, all the rate hikes and everything from the Fed and other central banks, that's all going to end in 2024, right? So if you look at that, that's also going to be very positive for the tech sector and for crypto. So it's all aligning. A lot of people are still looking at on-chain metrics, trying to study it, trying to figure out Bitcoin's next move. Right now, it does appear we are in that accumulation period once again, which is why Bitcoin is so solid, so steady, right around $30,000. That's okay. That's okay. This is part of the metric that shows we're at the same equilibrium point as 2016 and 2019, right before Bitcoin started heading higher. Okay, what is the equilibrium? Well, about 75% of supply is in profit right now, and 25% is in loss. So vast majority of Bitcoin holders right now are in the green, right? But whenever you have the 75 to 25% balance, that's when things start moving, okay? Back in 2016, Bitcoin was only $425. Back in 2019, Bitcoin was only at $6,500. And right now, at our equilibrium point, we're at $30,000. So think about that. Remember, every cycle, we form higher lows. Okay, so for people that are panicking about 30,000, just remember, 2019, we were as low as $3,000, and the cycle before that, 2016, and 2015, in fact, we fell to $160. Okay, so Bitcoin is definitely gaining strength every single cycle, and I don't believe this is going to stop, especially with all the institutions that are jumping in. This is also another pattern. I mean, there's a lot of fractal patterns, okay? There's a lot of moving averages. I show these basically every single day, but that's the situation we're in right now. This is also why I'm so bullish, because like every single thing that you can measure, from the growing fundamentals to the on-chain metrics to the technicals, everything you measure is looking fantastic for Bitcoin. I don't see how anyone can be bearish at this point in time. Even the macro environment is getting better too. I mean, and we're going into the halving. I mean, there's so many reasons to be bullish. But anyways, here's a technical pattern. If you look at 2015, 2019, 2023, where we are now, you have a bunch of EMA lines, right? That basically it's a ribbon of EMAs, moving averages, and Bitcoin has just broken above all of them. And the last two times this has happened, the most important thing about this is it's irrelevant what the moving averages are, right? All these ribbons have some kind of, you know, EMA 20, in this case 26, or the 10 and a 5 or whatever. The important thing to know is when Bitcoin breaks above these ribbons, it's generally very, very, very bullish. And it doesn't happen very often. It's not like it happens every other day. You look at 2015 when we broke out, that's when Bitcoin went all the way up to 20,000. When we broke up from the bottom of 2019 and went up to 14,000, right? And then from 2019 all the way up to 69,000. So we have just broken above again. So that means we're starting a bull run. There's another Bitcoin spot ETF coming, this time to Australia. Well, at least it gets filed. It's not for sure. But yesterday, the very first one opened up in Europe. And then, of course, we got like 6 or 8 applicants in the US, then now we have one in Australia. I mean, imagine all these Bitcoin spot ETFs everywhere, right? And how much money will be flowing in everywhere. Again, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be really, really fantastic. So that's what's happening with Bitcoin right now. Really, nothing has changed besides Bitcoin looking even stronger than it has been. So that's fantastic.